to do with
aspirational.
small children is you give them a little container
Yeah.
of cream and you tell them to shake it until it gets hard.
When Margot stops being in her like breaking stuff phase,
She can't.
no, she'll break the container. Mm,
Did she break a mason jar?
yes. They do have plastic ones. It'd be very plastic for her to. I guess I could do metal.
Is your computer sleeping or awake?
Oh, I actually have the perfect metal containers that then also are wrapped in a silicone thing, so she can't slam them on stuff because she bent a metal water bottle because she's with the whole.
Really well.
Okay, this is the January 26th, 2026 Brentwood Municipal Budget Committee meeting. First, I'd like to thank all of the committee members for making it here in this inclement weather, and Town Administrator and Mr. Miller. We're all here. Again, and I guess also throw out a thanks to Wayne and Jeff and Micah and the contractors doing the plowing. And Jim Michaud, I guess, is plowing tonight. He just stopped by. So thank you to them. They did a great job on the streets. We'll get Pledge of Allegiance. I guess the first thing would be, Alina, you can hear us, right?
Yeah, sorry guys, I don't have my card tonight, so it was hard to, by the time I
Oh.
realized it was too late to ask for a ride, so
Don't be sorry.
Change
Again,
of-
I
changing things here.
yeah, don't be sorry. I mean, I was just glad we made it and we're having our meeting. I really appreciate that. So I think the first thing would be, Dan had already said he was not going to be here because it was a school meeting. So if they canceled it, like I said, everybody tonight, if they're not here, it's an excused absence, given the weather. I think we need to vote, have a motion and a vote to have Alina be a remote member.
I'll motion to have.
Second.
Motion and a second to have Alina be a remote member of the meeting. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed, abstain? Good. Okay, so Alina, that also means that all votes will have to be a roll call. First is the January 12th meeting minutes for review and approval. Again, that's the January 12th, 2026 regular session. I'll just need a motion and a second on that.
Make a motion.
As usual, thank you, Michelle. Great job of summarizing again, because it was the school department here, a lot of information. You did a really good job of capturing kind of the important pieces that they presented, as well as all of the questions. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to accept the January 12th, 2026 meeting minutes as written. Any discussion? Okay, I guess we'll do a roll call vote. Alina, you can go first since you're remote.
Aye.
Kat?
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Gabby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so that passes. Great. Next is updates from Select Board.
We approved warrant articles that we will be talking about later. We changed the code enforcement budget, but I think we're going to reopen that one here as well.
Yep.
There was a lot of discussion about capital reserve funds and revolving funds. And I think that's it.
And I'll just throw it out there for everybody, because I did have some discussions with members of the public regarding the capital reserve funds. And as Letty and I were discussing even before the meeting, we're on the same page in terms of capital reserve funds. Not much of a problem, but I think a lot of the discussion that needs to be looked at.
We're not on the same page, but we have agreed to disagree.
On capital reserve funds or on
Yes.
revolving accounts, or both?
Well, I don't know about, but you have made it clear that you do not think it matters that the money was not taken out of capital reserve funds.
That's correct.
As the board voted to do so?
That's correct.
Okay. I disagree. I think that is a problem when the
Okay.
board votes to do something and it is not done.
Okay. So when we get to the warrants, the budgets, excuse me, the amounts that the select board approved that we'll be voting to recommend or not recommend, I did list the balance that's in those accounts. That is the current balance as of 12/31/2025 that the,
I don't think we, oh, okay. I don't know if we approved any. I know that there was one where we usually add a whole bunch to the
well, we'll get to it, but
different
there
capital
were, I
reserves,
think there
but I
was,
think we tabled that one.
okay, we'll get to the warrants.
Okay.
First item is I'd like to reopen the insurance benefits budget. The select board reopened and changed the budget. It was based on the fact that the in lieu of payments were done. I guess the library had a different amount in their handbook than the town, but the library trustees showed up, the chair of the, the vice chair of the trustees, as well as the director were there at the select board meeting and agreed to change their handbook to be the same as the town handbook of $1,300 a year. So the select board redid the budget. And if you look, it basically changes, make this a little bigger. So if you look at the in lieu of, the approved line that we had was $6,600, but again, that was based on 2 employees at $1,300 and 2 employees at $2,000. And once the select board just had the discussion with the library trustees, they agreed to the $1,300 in their handbook. It becomes 4 employees at $1,300 a year, or $5,200. So I would like to make a motion to get a motion in a second to reopen and realign the budget to what the select board has proposed and the library trustees have proposed. Again, it makes sense because, in my opinion, even if we leave this alone, we're just going to be over appropriating. We don't control the payroll system and how these are done. So
I'll make a motion to open.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to reopen the insurance benefits account budget. I'd like to have a motion again then to change the in lieu of insurance line from 6,600 to 5,200 to match the updated select board number.
I'll make a motion to change the insurance budget to 519,254.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to change the insurance benefits budget to 519,254, which would be an increase of, do you need that number? Michelle?
Decrease.
Decrease.
It's a decrease of $63,471.
Wait.
No,
No.
that can't be
It's
right.
only
From last
$4
year's budget.
grand.
Oh, yes, from last
oh,
year's.
From, what was that, 60?
63,471 from last year's budget.
Oh,
And did
1,400.
somebody second that?
Yes, I second. Did.
Thank you.
So I have a motion and a second to change the budget to, the insurance benefits budget to $519,254. Any more discussion? Okay, Alina,
Aye.
Kat,
Aye.
Letty,
Aye.
Michelle,
Aye.
Gabby,
Aye.
and I'm an aye, so that passes. Thank you. Next, I'd like to, again, have a motion and a second to reopen the code enforcement budget.
Motion to reopen the code enforcement budget.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to reopen the code enforcement budget. All in favor? Alina?
Aye.
Kat?
Aye.
Letty?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Gabby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye, so we'll open that. So on code enforcement, I had sent all of you the updated salary worksheet. And again, this problem was 100% my fault because, and I'm not sure exactly why I was going through and calculating all of the salaries on these templates anyways. And when I originally calculated the code enforcement officer's salary, because of the way he contractually, his first year, they have 2 raises put in there during the year, I used the exact day And town administrator reminded me that the payroll system is a weekly system, so I was off. This little amount that I was off was due to that. I had calculated to the day. She did it properly to the week. So if you look, if I do it per weeks, the amount comes out to be exactly the same as what the town administrator had and the select board had. So so our change would be to, again, if you look back at the budget, let me bring it up, on code enforcement. The total difference is, whatever that is, 108 minus,
100,
it's 150 or?
150.
$157. It's all in the salaries, which then changes the FICA, and it changes the retirement down. And again, we're aligning to the select board proposed, which they updated because they added $1 in each line for the driveway inspections and the test pit inspections, which we added those in case he needs to have some sort of appropriation to spend money on inspections. He would have a line to do that. I'd like to have us align exactly to the select board because, like I said, the salaries I had done incorrectly. This is just basically correcting my mistake.
Make a motion for the 107,933.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to update the code enforcement budget to $107,933. Any other discussion? I guess all in favor. Alina?
Hi.
Kat?
Nay.
Letty?
Aye.
Michelle?
Aye.
Gabby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
And Michelle, that is an increase of $15,462 off of last year's budget.
15,462.
Yep,
Thank you.
because I knew that was going to be what you wanted to know.
15,162, you said?
462.
I have one.
I don't know.
That's $300. What's $300?
I have a different number for last year's appropriation.
Do you?
I do.
All right, I'll check that.
I mean, that's that.
It's okay.
We agree on the number for next year.
Yep. I'll check and see if it's right. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. Next, I have anything on old business. Why don't we just take this out of order and we'll go to the warrants next, the recommendation. So, pull this up. At the select board meeting, they approved 4 warrants. They all had appropriations. So as a municipal budget committee, we need to vote to either recommend or not recommend. I have it on here to show all of you that there's no tax cap issue with any of these warrants, given the operating budget and the size of the warrants. So we don't have to take that into account. It's strictly just, do we recommend or not? The first one is the, hold on. I think I sent all of you the exact wording, right?
Yeah.
You have that.
Let me read it. Oh, you have it. Nice.
Thanks. So the first one is the warrant pertaining to manual or automated waste collection. It's worded to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $24,950,000 for the continuation of manual collection of waste and recyclable materials. Per the contract with Casella Waste Systems, the town may continue with manual waste collection or convert to automated waste collection. The proposed 2026 town budget allocates the cost of manual waste and recyclable collection for the first 6 months and automated waste and recyclable collection for the remaining 6 months. The purpose of this warrant article would be to continue with manual collection for the entire year. So again, in summary, the way we budgeted this was, we would assume that we were gonna cut over to automated on July 1st, but we're giving the residents, the select board's allowing the residents to vote if they want to keep manual. If they vote yes on this, we will get the additional dollars to keep manual for the year. If they vote no, well, then we switch over to automated.
What was that amount, Jim?
24,950, 24950.
I think, so I just kind of question like the implications of our recommendation or not. Like, obviously, we can recommend it from a standpoint of like, we have the space within the tax cap, like, you know, this isn't going to ruin us if we decide to stick with manual for the remaining 6 months. But I feel like this is kind of one where it's more like we're trying to take the temperature of people, like, is it worth this money to you to have this thing? Because like, to me, kind of feel like at some point the cost of manual is going to keep going up and up, and we should just switch to automated. So like, on a personal standpoint, I would vote no on this warrant, and we just at some point rip the Band-Aid off. It's going to stink. Where there's going to be growing pains with it.
Right.
So I think that's sort of where I'm a little, I guess, confused. Was like,
Well, I think what you're asking is, you vote based on what you believe is the right thing to do for the town.
but somebody who
so-
maybe is like showing up to town meeting, hasn't looked into this particularly hard before showing up, is going to be like, oh, budget committee says we should do this, so I'm going to just
I
I
yes.
trust them, like, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
do it.
yeah.
Whereas with a little more nuance,
Right.
So that's my question, is like, what, like,
Maybe you could.
like, we obviously
the
need to put a
other-
recommendation because there's a dollar.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, the other
associated,
thing,
but, like,
the
is
other,
it appropriate?
the other thing is that this is 6 months of manual. I believe the intent of the board is to take a yes vote on this at town meeting to mean that people would like to continue with manual moving
Yeah.
forward, which would mean next year it would be at least $50,000 total over the course of the year for manual, more than that with the escalator, and then it would, so
Right.
it's not that, it's like the 24, yeah, it has like
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
It's kind of relates, and I think correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm understanding what you're saying, but I'm on the same boat as like, are we considering this recommendation as a recommendation that we as a budget committee would go with this? Or is it just a recommendation that the town should decide whether or not they would like to go with that? Because those are two different recommendations, right?
So the
Because like
select, yeah, so I think the select board, when they put a warrant article in front of the voters, the select board is saying, we would like the voters to decide. I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, the budget committee's role is to decide if it is a fiscally good idea.
Yes, that's
Right.
correct.
And I think the issue is it's more of a fiscally neutral.
Napkin. Can you-
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I have a few thoughts, just starting last year, talking about waste, and honestly being on this budget committee because I was interested in talking about different ways we could look into how waste is collected and what other options that we have, because it's such a huge portion of our budget, up to 10%-ish. And my thoughts are it would take a lot to switch over to automatic with the new bins and the new process. And I know towns are going that way, like, city, it's streamlined. But I do think since we're not a city, since we're a town where a lot of people are much more engaged than maybe many other towns, I feel like I would like the time, and our like subcommittee on trash would like the time to explore different scenarios for trash and waste. So that way, so in my opinion, I would love to continue manual. So that way, during this next process, we can come to the town with better analysis of 3 to 5 different options. Stick with manual. This is the effort. This is the cost. This is the benefits, pros and cons, safety, etc. come up with new and different ideas from other towns that have been doing like, whatever better environmental impact. Have we looked at what going away from single stream into multi-stream recycling? Who knows what those scenarios will be? But for me, for $13 for the, last half of the year on, a $650,000 home, I will be asking the voters to vote manual so that the waste and trash subcommittee can have time to present more options.
Is that,
But what's the term of the contract? Because like even if you have more options, would this mean that if like let's say there's multiple more years, Letty, what was the term? Because I remember there was
5
more than
years.
just
5
this year.
years. And so we'd be in this, we'd be,
We're in your,
We're in year 2.
right.
next year's your
So there's three
Right.
more
It's not
years
2
of at
years.
least 50,000 more. That's a lot.
Well, the hope would be looking into, like, are there potentials? Like, what the legal obligations are.
but that's not a budget committee function.
No, no, but I think, what she's trying to do is help all of us understand, and I think Kat brings up a really
Yeah.
good point, because obviously from a budgetary standpoint, you'd say, yeah, we recommend this because
Right.
it fits and it's really not that much money, but does it make sense looking longer term? It's $50,000 a year roughly, and the contract does say it goes up 5%. So say the next year it's going to be 52,000 or something, right? Then, but I think what Gabby's trying to point out is that it's a lot of cities and towns may have made this decision just to jump because they think they're saving $50,000. But the truth is, you probably are not going to save that, because as we've already heard, if people, I know on our street, and we all live in the same neighborhood, you go on Wednesdays, like Laura and I, it's not a problem. I can get it into one barrel, but like a lot of families can't do it. And
But that-
those people are gonna have to pay more
They-
for a barrel.
but
Can I
they should.
finish? Can I finish?
Yes.
Yeah, they should. All I'm saying is, like, I think you have to understand that there's more to the costs of this than just the savings that Casella will make. I've also talked to another vendor who does trash, who kind of gave me some indications that be careful, because other towns thought they were going to save money. It turned into a disaster because people are really upset. They're paying more for tipping when they bring their own, they have to drive their garbage somewhere. They're paying more for the extra barrel. If you go over a certain limit of number of barrels in a town, then you're not going to, then it's really not saving Casella or anything, and he's going to come back and he already kind of said this. He was talking about like exceptions, people who have medical issues and generate lots of trash. But I happen to know, like I said, I just think that, I think what she's trying to say is it would be nice if the trash talk team, I think that's what you call yourselves, right? Like, I think next year really
keep it
comes and presents to the town, kind of like what we did with healthcare, and even have a sub-team kind of like look at, what do we want to do with trash? And even within this contract, there may be some things that we can do with the recycle to reduce cost and things like that, but not have to penalize. So anyways, I think I hope I'm not putting words in your mouth, but I get I
Right.
get it. It is a difficult question because this is
I
kind of a
do
weird
think-
one on
right.
how do we vote.
I
Because
do think, like, the budget, I think this fits, and I would like to see the town vote on this, and I think it makes sense. And so I think the warrant article, except I don't think it should say 24,950,000. I think it should say
Yes. We corrected
$24,950.
that typo.
But from a personal and from a trash subcommittee standpoint, my communication to the townspeople on this part for the manual waste collection would be to consider continuing manual, so that way we can have time to present potential other options before switching all of our processes and then asking to switch potentially everything again.
Yeah, no, I think the switching multiple times is a good lens to be looking at it. Yeah, no, this is just one of those ones
Okay.
where it's more of
I agree.
it's a deeper issue than just should we spend this money.
Right.
But-
Gabby, what's the plan on that? Like, do you guys have like a date in mind when you'd be presenting something to the town? Because like, what are we looking at? Like,
Well,
how
the
much
hope
time
was
would
to
the
put
town?
something together just to talk about automatic versus manual. So that way people had a better understanding of what that might mean. I know that, I think there was already a presentation about it. But the goal would be to continue to explore those, to have people coming in to do presentations potentially from other organizations or other towns that have tried some different solutions. So I don't have a specific date, but the goal would be to do something as quick as possible and to get some data collected quickly after budget season.
Wouldn't it serve the town well, though, to maybe talk to legal about the contract at this stage and see if it's even feasible to get out of the remaining, 3 years, or so that at least that information can be provided? Like, what would that cost if we, let's say, decided to go with something else completely? Um, what would it cost us to get out of this contract?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think it needs to be reviewed by legal. I mean, we took a first pass just in how other towns have gotten out of trash contracts, or what other possibilities there were, just reviewing the legal language, but that all has to be floated by council.
Yeah, I think for me, that would be crucial to understand when voting on this warrant, for example, right? Because we essentially need to compare the total cost, like what will it cost us over the next 3 years? Because if it's 150,000 regardless, you know what I mean? Like, what does it look like?
Sure.
I'm sure nobody wants to, you know, change multiple times, but everybody's also very vocal about the cost of things, right? And for example, like our family, for example, would be the family that's going to be paying through the nose and driving all over the place, throwing out trash. so, so
Right. And
but I would vote
is,
for that just because if it's cheaper, because it's my problem that I have so much trash and it shouldn't be anybody else's. You know what I mean?
totally. I think like the goal is to have those scenarios, and if we vote, if the town votes to keep manual for 6 more months, I don't think that precludes us from switching over to automatic in the end of 6 months or whenever that next time period is. So I don't think if we vote yes for manual on this, it means that we have to keep manual for the next finish of the contract.
Okay.
Is that not true, Betty?
I am one person on a 5-person board.
Okay.
But I think it is the purview of the select board to
It
make this
is. It was also
determination.
the purview of the select board to switch over
This year.
this
or
year
Last year.
as the taxpayers voted that we were going to do. So even if taxpayers vote for this, the next select board could decide to go automated
Right.
halfway through the year. Like,
And
Right.
I just want to make sure that we're all clear. I want to make sure the total waste, recycle, everything is $730,000
Sounds
for
about right.
2026. So we're talking about
it's one of our
$25,000.
biggest budgets after police.
Correct.
It's police, fire,
Correct.
highway, trash.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why I think it warrants, no pun intended, or maybe pun intended, it warrants some extra time, which is the goal of this subcommittee, to present the town with some potentially better alternatives, or to at least say, if we want to save $100,000, this is what it might look like. You're going to save, I don't know, 50, whatever it is.
I think you're going to find that the biggest driver in the trash budget is the amount of trash people throw away.
Well, right, but this is the whole subcommittee discussion, is that 40 to 60% of the weight of your trash, which is the cost driver in trash, is food. And so
And people could be composting in their backyard.
there's just, there's
But
a
you
lot
can't
of,
make them.
You can't make
you
them,
can't make them, but
So
I
I
think
guess-
but that's what, if it was something that you had to be more cognizant
there
of
are
because
other
you have a
towns that
limit.
have incentivized this,
Yeah.
that have created programs for this,
So I-
that have.
I think
Yeah.
my perspective on that is the incentive would be if we are on automated, you have a limit of how much you can throw away. So if you want to reduce the amount you're throwing away, then maybe you compost. Because if you don't, you have to buy another barrel.
Right,
And
but I
also
do think
the
there,
barrels for automated, if I'm not like making this up, because where I lived, 5+ years ago, always had automated, and the barrels were much bigger because you didn't go out and buy them. So
There
they
are
were-
two different sizes.
Okay.
The taxpayers will get to pick between the two different sizes. There's one at the end of the hallway that I will not drag down here. It's huge. Any one of us could fit inside. That's the 90-something gallon. There's also a 65.
Mhm.
You get to pick which one, and then, yeah, it just gets dropped off. You don't have to buy it or anything.
Yeah.
But like,
And that's what the 90-gallon, like the ones I used to have, we could both be fitting.
Yeah.
but
They're
we,
huge.
I think one of the things that
Giant.
this other vendor explained to me about manual, he said, just ask your residents today when they do their recycling. They have a big cardboard box. What do they do with it?
Cut it up because that's what the rules say you're supposed to do.
You're
Well,
supposed to.
I'll be honest, I just know I put it next to my trash and the guys take it. They take it all the time. I fold it as much as I can. I get it down to like a thing, but they take, if I stand it up next to my barrel, they take it. And he goes, they will not, with manual,
Yeah.
you are gonna be
Or
cutting
With
that.
automatic.
Excuse me, with
They won't take
automatic, you
anything
must cut it up
outside.
and get it to fit in that barrel. And he goes, cardboard. So he was warning that, he was telling me about some of the issues that people have had going to automation, as well as, and I know I'm getting ahead and I'm probably stealing some of your stuff, but like the cardboard is something that we really should look at. And
So-
if there's a way of pulling it out, but I think we're getting maybe a little bit off of the
I
warrants.
have brought that up before, that we
But-
could have a dumpster for cardboard only.
Right.
at the town shed,
Yeah.
because that is one of the few things that is actually a
Right.
worthwhile commodity in the recycling market right
Correct.
now.
But I also
Yeah.
want to,
One of
I think I'm doing this math right.
And it's not
the-
the same as like dragging all of your food trash into your car to drive it somewhere. Like
Right.
just cardboard
But,
boxes don't
you know, like,
generally smell.
There are tons of municipalities that have gone to automated and residents deal. So like,
Yeah.
not the end of the world. I think for me and being a part of the subcommittee, the ask is, I'm asking to have, that extra time to present the town with some different scenarios in which we think would potentially be better options for us to save time, to save money, to be a beneficial environmental impact, and to like think outside of the next 6 months.
No, so that's when I was just starting this discussion on this. I think my big thing was mostly just, I feel like when we say, okay, presumably budget committee's going to recommend this, just the
Right.
giant asterisk and what that's
absolutely.
going to look like in terms of both when we present or when we have our public hearing for people to come ask their questions, but also at town meeting for the people who maybe either weren't able to come to that or just like didn't have time to watch the recording, any of that kind of stuff, just so everyone knows like what we're voting on and also like kind of the why, because I think my knee-jerk reaction would be like,
Absolutely.
why are we, like, we're all feeling like our taxes are going up, like just go to automated, it's fine.
And I'm with you.
Right.
I
And
mean,
not
and I'm only
think
two in my household, so I'm
Right.
with you. But that's
that
why
there's then
I think
more
it's important that
logistics
you have
behind
to,
it.
at town meeting, bring this
Right, right.
up.
So I think,
Because-
and I'm gonna look, sorry, I'm looking at you, Julie. I think there's also a plan to have like information about the difference between the two from the trash company. Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Yes, there's going to be a flyer. In fact, we're going to look at it tomorrow night just to get everybody's opinion on it. About the question about getting out of the contract, I believe, I recall correctly that if it didn't get budgeted for the correct amount, that's one reason to get out. So if there was an alternative found that was cheaper and that's what was budgeted for, that would be an out from the contract. And yes, there are the 65 and I think it's 95 gallon. And he said it was, I talked to him the other day. Everyone will get a 65. If you want a 95, you have to bring it in and exchange it for the 95.
It doesn't cost you anymore.
Doesn't cost you any more unless you decide you want to switch back. And then they're like, we're not going to keep swapping them out. So you make that decision and then you'd have to pay some type of pickup fee in order to go back to the other way. And then if you wanted more than one, it would be $200 a year rental fee, plus whatever the town may decide that it wants to charge for the landfill fee. So that's how that works. And someone from Casella is willing to come to town meeting or any meeting and speak to it if anyone would like.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Thank you, Chad.
Mr. Miller?
When I first saw or heard about the automatic trash pickup, I figured it couldn't be any worse than what they're doing manually. And it saves money, so why wouldn't you do it? Then I started talking to people, and people said, well, we're going to limit how much trash you can put out. Now, similar to Jim, it's my wife and I. We actually only put out trash about once a month. But it's, you know, with you talk about all the limitations to this, I think your warrant should say something more than just the cost savings, that you will give up, you know, unlimited trash after the holidays.
So we don't currently have unlimited trash, just so you're clear.
Pardon?
We don't.
There's a limit?
There is a limit.
Well, I've never seen it.
Okay. I'm just
It's, I mean, after you drive down
something like
Dudley Road after Christmas, you can barely get down the road. There's so much out
You
there.
have to have a sticker on your big item.
Sure, it just costs us more. I mean,
Well, it's, yeah.
to your point, you put your trash out once a month. These people that put out 8 bags a week, your tax dollars are subsidizing their
I'm
trash.
fine with that. But, you know, there's people who, with families, they have more of it. You know, someday I'll need more of it. It's not an issue, but I don't need to discuss that because people have their own mind. I just think you need to be clear in the warrant that if you vote yes, you're going to be limited to a 95, a 65, or whatever it may be. And I just think that needs transparency because, I mean, I would have voted for that warrant in 2 seconds. Why wouldn't I save $25,000? But I think after talking to other people who've done it in other towns, you can get a real uprising over this. And I'm not sure it's worth the fight. And to your point, I mean, I was here when we decided to recycle, and we sold it by saying recycling saves money, you know, saves the environment. You know, several years later, they came in and said, we're gonna have to charge you for recycling now because nobody wants it. You know, and, you know, some people allege they followed the trucks and they all went to the same dump and didn't separate it. I don't know if that's true. But the only thing I'd suggest is very strongly is that this become much clearer what a vote for yes means.
Yeah.
Because I think that may very clearly change the outcome. But that's all I got.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, Chad.
So also as a member of the Trash Talk Committee,
We're talking about trash. You're gonna make it fun.
I also think we should remain it manual. I was not happy when the contract was signed without looking at other options anyway. I mean, that's neither here nor there now, but it was hasty. And frankly, hearing the pros and cons from the trash company that wants our money is not, probably won't impress me either, but there are questions I have about, like Mr. Miller just said, what happens to our recycling? Does it actually get recycled? I know that if there's dirty items in there. It's all gonna go to the trash anyway, so what are we actually paying for? How green are we actually being? You know, is it just a feel-good thing, but not really accomplishing what we want it to accomplish? And another aspect, I think, that our subcommittee wants to try to present is how to not have so much trash, you know, as Gabby said, if you're composting or doing something else, or, you know, don't throw your kids' toys in the trash or clothes away, you know, there's a lot of ways to get rid of things. Everything isn't trash. It's just that I think we've become a lazy society and we've become a gluttonous society and we buy a lot of things we don't need. So maybe trying to just sort of present some things that could change a mindset might,
Evaluating consumerism habits.
yeah, you know, might be helpful too. And I mean, what Gabby said about the food and the trash, it's a huge amount of what our weight is. And if you sent, I know what happened when I started composting. I barely have any trash now, you know, a lot of, and so, I mean, there's definitely other avenues that we could take, just being more responsible for what we produce. So,
The one thing that I will say, because I know it comes up a lot, the alternative to signing this trash contract was having no more trash pickup on January 1st. I understand that it was not ideal. A lot of things that happened at the end of 2024 were not ideal. The select board has not seemed interested in figuring anything out other than just getting to the end of this contract, 1 of 5. If there is interest from the public at looking into alternatives, then the board should hear that.
That's the hope from Trash Talk.
Mr. Burlow, do you want to say something?
Jim Burlow, Scrabble Road. Regardless of how the trash sausage is made, it is imperative that the budget committee look at how they are going to vote in the affirmative or negative on this warrant article. That's it. That's it. You can determine how you want to move forward in the future, but as this warrant article gets presented to the legislative body, it behooves the budget committee to determine how they are going to vote yay or nay, unless they can put some sort of verbiage in to the yay or nay. That is all that matters here in this warrant article as you decide. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Burlow.
I don't think.
And again, this discussion is strictly because, as several of the committee members have stated, that we're recommending or not recommending. Those are our two choices. And if you look at it from a strictly financial standpoint, you know, from a tax cap, you might think one way, but maybe you think that, you know, because of the other issues with trash, you know, what this generates by going to automated, you would vote another way. So I think that's what this whole discussion is about, is we do have an obligation to either recommend or not. I would just like to say that I believe that at town meeting, it would be really helpful if, Gabby, you did have maybe even a single slide to talk about. Just know when it's not, if we go to automated, we're going to save $24,000 in this budget. But these are what the things that are going to happen. I think it would really be
Right, like
helpful
what Ted said.
because I'm with you. I think that we should try to keep at manual to allow this sub team to have time to really formulate some ideas, talk to third parties, and then present those to the select board, almost in a similar way that we did to healthcare this year. Like there were proposals made to the select board, they made decisions. I think it would be really helpful to the select board to have that group, your group. And again, I think the first step, I think you know enough already to kind of at least give people an understanding of it's not as simple when we go to automated. There are some costs for some people, but it's also gonna, you realize what this means.
The
right?
service change.
Yeah, exactly. I think it would be educational to allow, at least so people, when they're making their vote, they're making an educated vote.
I do think, though, like regardless of the vote, we'll continue to look into it and we'll provide scenario analysis. But yeah,
Yeah, because I think as we've heard from people time and time and time again, people want their taxes to be as low as they can get them, and if people don't feel like they listen to, if they make the informed vote that I've seen what all the offset like costs are, you know, what the limitations are gonna be, that it could be a pain point for some people, and still think $25,000 is
Right, 25.
not chump change. I mean, yes, it breaks down to about $13 for a household, but
Right.
you know, you
On
gotta
top of
start
everything
somewhere.
else.
Then that's a choice that the legislative body gets to make. So I
Right.
think, yeah, in my opinion, after hearing everything you've said, I would say I feel like maybe we should recommend this and also make sure that we do have something pretty clear laying out pros,
Is that
save a little bit of money,
right, right.
cons, here's all the things, and that we're not, we can still switch to automated at a later date. Like, we're not
So-
locked in forever and ever.
Yes, obviously anyone can have whatever presentations they want. I guess the question that I would have is when it comes to something like staffing at the library, for example, or staffing at the fire department, is there also going to be a presentation where it's like, okay, you don't want to have this person, which means if your house catches on fire in the middle of the night, this is how long you're going to have to
Right.
wait for a response. Like,
No, I agree.
like, I guess, is this just a new thing that the budget committee is going to do for all things where service changes, or is it just
Yeah.
specifically about trash?
My interpretation of both that scenario and also of why this is a warrant article and not just in the budget is that on this issue pretty specifically, like, and obviously you're one of five and
Sure
you can
am.
speak to everyone's intentions, and I am not trying to put words in anyone's mouth, but I think the intention was to see, do people feel like it's worth it or not? And have kind of kick the can back to the
Sorry.
taxpayers as a whole
Oh,
versus,
SAU 16.
Damn. I mean, it's fine.
so that's my,
So Letty, are you whether it's in a slide or I get a
No,
about the
I
warrant article itself?
no, I think I'm
Totally fine.
I'm just kind of
I
thinking
agree.
in my
I think it's a
head
good
because
question.
for example, there are multiple
Are we opening the floodgates?
warrant articles that the select board elected to not put on the warrant. So the select board had the option to put them as warrant articles, but not recommend them, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
The select board opted to not do that. And so I guess for this one,
They're not putting them on at all.
they're not putting them on at all,
Not recommended.
instead of not recommending them.
Wait.
So if
what?
it's not on
Oh.
there, we can't have a presentation on it
Nope,
because it's
so-
not there.
so
And
hold on.
I think
Let
that
me finish speaking.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if the select board is going to recommend this warrant article or not. The select board has voted to put this warrant article on the warrant, but the select board has not voted whether or not they recommend these yet. And so I'm in my head trying to figure out where what you're doing fits
Right.
in with that.
Totally.
Again, which is not to say that you can't, you as any taxpayer can do and
Right.
say
And we
whatever.
also had a subcommittee set up from I mean, this was in April, I believe, that.
I know, we
so
didn't get much,
It's
know.
not like, it's not like we're just doing it because you feel like doing it. I mean, we have a legitimate team, two members who have some information and
They, sure.
on this.
But
this
I-
They
exact
haven't had a
specific
lot of
issue.
information until just now, which is also fine. All I'm saying is this is new. This is different. All of this is different.
yeah.
So I just want to make sure that
yeah.
the select board, if they recommend or don't recommend this, don't end up saying something that's, or it's fine if you say something different.
Jim,
Right,
maybe,
right.
Jim, maybe I could help. I certainly couldn't do it as well as others, but I'd be more than happy to stand up in the meeting and talk about this.
Well, as public,
So that
we
way
you
neither
we'll all we
board
will all
can
get
do
there
it.
our 5 minutes to speak on any warrant at town
I
meeting.
know.
So yeah, I think that would be appreciated. of
I'm gonna
course.
lobby for 15 minutes.
We'll bring the popcorn.
I think the bottom line with us voting on this and all of this discussion is, it's not just about the $25,000.
Correct.
Yeah.
It goes a little
Right.
deeper than that.
Right.
So-
Because it is possible that the select board puts this on the warrant article as a warrant article, but then does not recommend it.
Yeah.
Which is
Well, I would like
Right.
to make a motion To recommend the warrant, passing the warrant pertaining to the manual or automated waste collection, to see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $24,950.
Okay. And I'm just going to ask for clarification as the chair, because this is my first time doing it. Is that how we do this? Or do you just go around and say recommend, not recommend, 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 and then the majority, like, do we report that it was 4-1? Do we report?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But the
So that's why I
vote,
didn't understand what the
I
mo,
think we can, so, I'm trying to remember if that happened last year or
Don't
not.
usually. I
Um,
thought we voted the same way we vote.
okay. And I'm just asking
We
because
do vote,
might have made
we
that
do vote, I don't know, I guess Julie, you're doing the town report and the warrant. Would it be beneficial to have vote counts, or just have recommends or doesn't recommend? Yeah, so,
well, then the motion.
'Cause that way if it's
The
a
motion you
split,
have
then-
is fine. I mean, because then we
Okay.
just, so the motion was to recommend.
right,
and then-
second.
So we have a motion to recommend and a second. Any more discussion? And we can vote. So you're voting, if you say yes, you are voting to recommend this warrant to the voters. And if you vote no, that's a not recommend. You only have two choices. Or you can abstain. At this point, you can vote any way you want.
no, I can't.
Well, I don't know. Did you already vote to recommend or
The
not?
email says that these were approved by the
They were
select
approved
board.
for addition
Language.
to, well, the warrant, but the board
Oh.
themselves.
You can.
Well, then you can, then you
I'm
could,
gonna just abstain.
Yeah.
it's up to you. This is my opinion. I don't know. I mean, the RSA says you can do whatever you want.
Right.
The select
Jim,
board rule.
The select
I
board
know.
has made it very clear that if I do anything that they have not approved, they will kick me off of this committee.
Okay.
And I don't want that.
But it's
so
not like you're going against it. They didn't recommend you.
I-
so-
Right.
They have
abstaining.
made it very
Okay.
clear.
Well, then you
I
can,
feel like
Yeah.
abstaining
Okay.
is safe.
sure,
Yeah.
if you feel you have to do that. Okay, so Alina, again, we have a motion and a second to recommend your vote.
Sure, recommend.
Kat,
Recommend?
Letty,
Abstain.
Michelle?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm an aye to recommend, so I guess that's,
4-0, no. Yeah,
no, we have
4-0-1.
5
5-0.
and an abstain.
Wait, that means I can't, okay.
No, that's okay.
I know, does that make sense to do all these when you can't vote on
It
it?
doesn't matter. My one vote wouldn't.
Yeah, we still,
Okay.
Yeah.
Made a
doesn't matter,
difference,
we have.
Right, like,
I know,
don't-
you
I
can
don't think
still
it's gonna ma-
say your,
And again,
I have no problem saying my piece.
and I appreciate it.
okay, so the next warrant that we have to recommend or not recommend is the multipurpose municipal building capital reserve fund. It's worded to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $125,000 to be added to the existing municipal building capital reserve fund.
Yeah, I would just take off, it's not multipurpose, it's just municipal building. I don't know where that verbiage came from.
I'm reading, I thought that's how the
The
warrant was written.
title,
Where?
Your title on this document says multipurpose.
municipal
So does-
building.
That's what you got from Julie?
what I got from. Isn't it?
Oh.
The capital reserve is the municipal building capital reserve fund.
So it's the title will be municipal building capital reserve
Yes.
fund, but the wording is the same.
Yes, just the multipurpose,
So-
that's not the name of the capital reserve.
And
Yeah. But the
again,
warrant you read out, I think, says it correctly.
yes,
So currently there's $124,878 in there.
yes, that's correct.
So I just want to be clear that that feels like the wrong number.
That there may
since
have been things
paid out of the general fund.
pertaining to that building
Were paid out of the general fund.
that have not come out of that fund.
Understand that Jim feels like that does not
No,
matter.
no, no,
It
I was just
matters.
gonna ask the town administrator, that's the latest number that we had was the 124,878, right? Okay. So this is the right number, or this does not include those? That is, okay. And again, I'll be honest, I'll just say that I think this is a really good idea because eventually we will have a new building, a new police station, and there will be a bond for that. And I did check the law. We are allowed to use capital reserve funds to offset principal and interest payments. So my hope is that,
This amount of money will not leave anything for,
Um,
most of this will go towards the engineering that is coming this year, so that we can have a plan.
so there's 250,000, that this would bring that up to $250,000. So between the costs of getting an actual quote of a building, and then if there was money, in fact, I would recommend that they do something like this again next year, because I think it just helps us to try to smooth out. My goal would be to try to work out a financial plan where we can smooth the principal, the hit of the debt between, like I said, using capital reserve funds for smoothing, as well as potentially, we're going to be, we already did the bond schedule, right? There's bonds that are going to be expiring, so we have that money that would come in, plus we have a 4% tax cap that we could utilize each year, so.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Why would we use the capital reserve fund if there's still money left in the budget?
I wouldn't, but I don't have the number of what the bond would be, a principal and interest payment, but I'm assuming the principal and interest payments would be pretty large, and that you could use this to smooth out the effect to the taxpayer over a 3 to 4 year, 3-year period anyways.
What do you mean by money left in the budget?
I guess you're talking about a multi-year plan where the select board uses this money to offset bond payments? Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
As a potential?
potentially, yeah.
I don't understand how this fund for a municipal building can be used for bond payments.
Because the law says that you can use capital reserve funds to offset principal and interest payments on debt. And you'd be using it, this is specifically for the police station. So if you could use the money toward a police, in the future, because in order to build a police station, we will need a bond, because we won't be able to pay for it without one. You'd be able to, like I said, for the first few years, use some of this money to help smooth the payments.
Why don't we use this fund to repave the Grange parking lot and put in a septic system?
I thought this CRF was specifically, used to be called the police station one, and that the voters changed it to municipal building instead, so that if they wanted to do more, I didn't know anything about Grange parking lots. I thought
Well,
that
the Grange is a
maintenance.
municipal building.
I thought that was a different capital reserve fund called.
My,
Being facetious.
I'm not trying to be, my
No,
my
you're-
I don't
point
know-
is
I don't know
that
what your point
we
is.
could, so you're talking about using this to offset a bond payment. If we have money in the general fund, we might as well use that and save this for something else.
What do you,
Totally contradicts what you
But like,
were saying about things
Yes,
being paid out of the operating budget.
yes, what
rather
I'm
than
saying
out of
is
the
his
CRF.
multi-year plan of being able to do whatever we want in 3 years is not locked in at all.
by using a CRF for municipal buildings,
Yes.
which could be used at
Yes.
any building or any
Yes.
property
Based
around the
on
town?
whoever is sitting in the chair at the time, whoever's sitting at the table.
It's
So
a shame they changed it from the police building then.
I'm just saying you shouldn't plan on that as being a choice, because we don't know who's gonna be at.
It's
I don't
okay.
know that it's
That's
necessarily
okay.
planning it,
I'm-
suggesting it.
I'm just saying that I think the town is probably going to spend some time figuring out a financial plan to, as well as, as much time as we've spent on a building plan, how many years? I think it behooves us to come up with and do a financial plan, and part of that financial plan could utilize these funds to offset principal and interest payments by law. That's all I was trying to
Is
make a
that the
point to.
point of this
I was
warrant article?
gonna say, I feel like the point of this warrant article is to get to the point where there is a municipal building.
I believe the intent,
Like,
I
or,
believe the board's intent was to put more money in this, so to come next year to town meeting with a specific, like, do an RFP process and come with a specific
And then if
plan.
I'm understanding what you're saying correctly, in kind of like, removed from the original conversation speak, if there is money left over.
Correct.
It's not.
Absolutely.
People who would feel like, we've just thrown all this money at engineering. Well, it's not a waste because we can also pay down that bond with this.
Agreed. That's
fund
all my point
later.
was, is that.
Yeah, so
Because people might go, what, that's a lot of money, why would you? No, we can actually utilize that for things.
Yeah,
other things
if
as-
there is something left over, which is also big if, because engineers are expensive.
So I guess, what is your concern, Letty, is that,
I just don't, I want to make sure that everyone knows the select board never talked about using any extra money in this to do what Jim's talking about.
and the select board was like, this is what we need for engineering, we think.
I don't know by what process this number was selected by.
Okay. And Jim, what you're saying is, no matter what the number is, we're gonna use that for engineering, and then
Correct it.
the everybody's working towards the same goal of getting a new police
And-
place.
Yeah, and I just
for
want
existing.
people to understand that it's not just for engineering or just for some sort of a plan. It could be used to help smooth the debt payments. It can be legally used for that. I did check.
Right.
That's what the law states.
Yeah, I feel like kind of what I'm hearing here is like maybe similar, or I was about to say dissimilarly to how we feel like, oh, we need all this more information to go with the waste collection warrant. Maybe we need to check ourselves and bite our tongues and give less or like not keep adding more words to the municipal building reserve fund, because I feel like everyone at this point has heard many things about the municipal building, and then they can either vote to fund this CRF or not. Or at least that's how I'm taking this.
So since the select board hasn't decided whether to support any of these or not,
Which,
I suppose I can't really say. I know last year when all the warrant articles came up, they were amended to be using unspent funds. So that may or may not happen.
I mean, that could happen at town meeting,
Mm.
but that's not going to have any impact on the tax cap. Because the fund source does not impact the tax cap.
I just want to ask a point of clarification. If you look on the report that we got from the MS9 report, the Capital Reserve Fund name shows as Multi-Purpose Municipal Building Capital Reserve Fund.
Do you know who makes that wording?
Yes, this is from Three Bearings.
Oh.
And the trustee of the trust funds. No? Okay. I'm just telling you, this is the report that I just got from the town administrator, and I'm just pointing, and my point was to further clarify, you asked about the Grange building. I thought that the Grange building driveway would come out of the maintenance of town-owned buildings.
I was trying to think of another municipal
the-
building. I was
Not
just
the
trying to think of-
multi-purpose municipal building. I thought this, and the reason that this was originally called the police department, new police station fund, and that either last year or the year before, there was a 60%, supermajority voted to rename it so that it could be used for something bigger than a police station. So I'm just making sure that we all understand what this is. Okay.
But I think this is where, because I'm assuming it all ties back to whatever the original wording in the warrant article was,
Mhm.
which may be what you're, Mr. Burlow, is that what you're knowing? And yes.
If I may interject here. Historically, in 2010-ish, the town decided upon a new fire station. It was sold to the town as a future municipal building. Who cares, right or wrong? March 14th, 2020, it was established that a police facility capital reserve fund would be created and $50,000 put into it. It wasn't until 2024, March 16th, 2024, that we voted in Article 5 to change the purpose of the Police Facility Capital Reserve Fund to a multi-purpose Municipal Building Capital Reserve Fund under RSA 35-1 for the design and construction of a new municipal building. Okay? This passed with a 3/5 majority, yes 91, no 41. So in 2024, the name was changed, although that definition of multi-purpose municipal building capital reserve fund was truly never defined.
It sounds like the purpose was still new municipal building.
New municipal building. In that time, magically, the rec center forest above the rec center was cleared.
Okay.
And this municipal building architect slash person had designed into that physical geographical space the new police station. Us taxpayers are bewildered by the ability of someone to clear the forest above the rec center and simultaneously this new design firm to come in with a structure that is above the rec center. Now, it's been decided by the select board in the past couple months that they're to forego moving forward with any future ideas, warrant articles, et cetera. They're going to hold off for a year.
On the bond, we decided last.
Correct.
Yeah.
I would suggest that the taxpayers have been left in the dark with all that has transpired. There have been no more, no less than 3 designs created. I would suggest that this budget committee look at all the existing buildings in town and see what to their advantage existing buildings can come into play here before they move forward with any and all monies toward the future capital reserve fund that they want to put money into. I would suggest we put a complete halt to any and all additional warrant article spending until somebody, some entity in this town can actually get a grasp on what buildings do we own, what is the true best foot forward before we throw money into a warrant article. I know it offsets any future bond, et cetera, but at this point, the taxpayer is at their wit's end with funding warrant articles that can and might and could make our lives better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burlow. I'll just add, maybe to help clarify a little bit for myself and maybe for you, that there was a building committee that has been meeting for, well, several years. And I know this past year, I believe it was, they went through all of these different options, like you said, and they were the ones who, I think, finalized and proposed to the select board this year to do a police station only new building. So I'm going by the recommendations of that committee that, like I said, and that committee's existed. I mean, I've lived here for 7 years. It has to be at least 5 that it started off as a police department, then it morphed into some, maybe a municipal complex. And then this past year, at least 1 year, that team that existed looked at 3 different possibilities, and they proposed to the select board to do a police station only. So, and either one of those options would fit under the purpose of this capital reserve fund, because it was renamed from police station only to a municipal building, so that it could be used for either of the 3 that group could have come up with. So I personally don't think I'm voting on something that isn't going to be used for a future building. And like I said, I guess I'm just trying to clarify with you, or whatever your concern, that we're, you know, again, I'm not gonna speak to cutting down trees or anything that has nothing to do with this, but like this fund is for a future municipal building, and that team did present to the select board that they're recommending a police station. And I heard our police chief say, while he doesn't need it like today, he does feel that he needs a new facility for his department. So I think the vote that we're taking this evening to put, you know, the select board is doing this warrant, I think it is valuable, and I think that, like I said, we just need to vote to recommend or not recommend.
I'll make a motion that we recommend, however it's gonna be worded, either multi-purpose or just municipal building.
It sounds like the name of it is the multipurpose municipal building, CRF, but the purpose is to fund new municipal building.
I will make a motion to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $125,000 to go into the capital reserve fund, whose purpose is the new municipal building.
Second.
Okay, so I have a motion and a second. Oh,
I think the wording there was, we need to, recommend, right? Not vote to appropriate.
it says the Municipal Building Capital Reserve Fund. I think it's pretty, it does say Municipal Building Capital Reserve Fund on the report I have. It has the word multi-purpose in front of it, which is in the title.
I don't want people to think that this can only be used for a multipurpose building.
That is correct. That's a good, yes, that is clear.
Well, but that's not up to us. We have to go by what's written here, unless they want to change what's written there.
Well, the wording says Municipal Building Capital Reserve
Well,
Fund.
I think it's that it could be multi-purpose.
Could be any number, it could be.
It could
Well,
be
and
tri-purpose.
everything is open to interpretation, so it really depends who's.
But I think the reserve fund that exists for looking in, for, I don't remember what the exact words, construction and rural engineering, the pre-planning phases, all the way through the
Design
bond.
and construction.
Design and construction, thank you.
Did you second that?
I did. I second.
So I have a motion and a second to,
Jim,
yep,
my only concern is that in the motion, it says to appropriate, and we're not voting to appropriate, we're voting to recommend.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I was asking to raise and appropriate, or to recommend
The
that the-
appropriation.
that the.
Okay,
see if they
I
will
missed the
raise and
recommend
Yeah.
part, I'm sorry, just making sure.
thank you, Alina. So I have
Second.
a motion and a second. Any other discussion from the board? Mr. Burley, do you want to make one last comment before we vote?
Just one last comment. In 2024, Article 5 said specifically under RSA 35(1), as they changed the name, for the design and construction of a new municipal facility. That's the wording on Article 5 passed by the legislative body in 2024.
So we could not repave the parking lot in the Grange, because that's not a new building.
Thank you.
What we could pave the new municipal building.
But it's
It would have to
specifically
be for a
for,
new building.
for something new.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. If that, no other discussion? I'll start with Alina since you're remote.
Hi,
Kat?
Aye.
Letty?
I'm abstaining.
Michelle?
Nay.
I'm Gabby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
411.
411. Okay, so recommend. And again, I guess we'll record, we can send that to the town administrator, and if they want to use it in that format, we'll just say 411.
Yeah, that's what you said, Julie, right?
Yeah, I think,
The actual
thank you.
votes.
Because I think, I thought last year it just said recommend or not.
I think it did.
I like the
It
numbers,
only
actually, if
ever
they use the
said
numbers.
recommended or not
But I
recommended.
like putting the numbers, I think it's good to show.
Having the information that it was, there might have been dissent.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Okay.
The only confusion will just be like, Letty, why'd you abstain on all?
Mm-hmm.
The next,
mean,
We all know.
I'll tell them.
the next warrant is the Capital Reserve Fund for Highway Vehicles and Equipment. and it's worded to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $150,000 to be added to the existing Highway Vehicles Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. And the balance right now that I have is $16,051.
Do we know in the like replacement schedule where we're at? You
What are we saving for and when?
exact. Thank you. Words are hard.
Did this come up at the select board at all?
I'm trying to,
Not really.
Just to make sure that
This
this-
fund is pretty much empty.
Well, that's what I'm looking at, the $16,000, thinking you can buy
we
nothing.
Bought a truck at the or we bought us something at the very beginning of this year.
If you have information, sure. Thank you.
Jim Michaud, Select Board, and I'm also liaison for Highway. We need to rebuild this fund because, you know, we have drained it. It's down to 16,000 some odd dollars, and new trucks are very expensive. And, you know, there will be a time where we need to, in the not too distant future, I don't know exactly the time, but we will need to be replacing a vehicle, and they're upwards of 250,000 now, the way we need them equipped, so.
Well, my concern was actually, is 150,000 going to be enough to get us through to the next town meeting with the whatever is in circulation in the
So
H's and stuff?
Yes.
Do we need to
Yeah,
recommend?
that's what Wayne is asking for, and
Okay.
so I think that,
I pulled up my notes from last year,
Mhm.
and he said he needed. There are 5 trucks, and they last about 10 years apiece.
Mhm.
So it's basically on average a truck every 2 years. So if we can save this amount for the next 2 years, we should be
Okay.
good.
Correct. right.
I think is what the
We have
rough
one truck
idea
that's
was.
down right now that is kind of riddled with repairs. We'll keep it going for the next 2 years, but if we can put in 125 now and 125, 150 and 150, we should be in good shape. Thank you.
No, thanks,
Yeah.
Jim. Thanks for that clarification. And
Yeah,
good
because
question.
that's, I
Yeah.
know there was one truck that to replace it was gonna be like 3 something was kind of like the estimate, but that might have been the one that actually got replaced.
Loader.
That might have been the one that already.
No, that was like 16.
Okay. Yeah, that might have been the number that was in my. Yeah.
And that that fund also is supposed to encompass not just plow trucks. There are other pieces of equipment that will fill in those gaps.
Yes. And that's, I just don't want the town to be in a situation where all of a sudden we have too many trucks, especially with the winter like like this.
Too
Too many trucks go, and now we have to
Oh.
call a special session to get funding to
right.
buy a truck because we keep running this balance down to almost 0.
Is there any discussion? I can make a motion.
I would second the motion.
Motion to recommend.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to recommend the warrant for $150,000 to be added to the Highway Vehicles Equipment Capital Reserve Fund. Any more discussion from anybody? Seeing none. Alina?
Aye.
Kat?
Aye.
Letty?
Abstain.
Michelle?
Aye.
Gabby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye.
If, and I guess it probably wouldn't happen with raising the number, but if the budget committee felt like the select board was proposing a number that was too high,
Oh, too high? Or I don't think.
can you, the question is, can you change the
No,
number?
to my knowledge, no. We have no authority on warrants at all. Only the select board can propose warrants. All we can do is on a warrant that has an appropriation is either recommend or not recommend.
But at the meeting, anyone can
Anyone
change the
can.
number.
Yes, and that's what we could
Yes.
not
Oh,
recommend the
yes.
warrant and then come back and say, maybe.
But the budget committee cannot. We cannot change that amount. As a resident, you could get up and try to do something as a resident. But the budget committee, we can't
Yes.
change.
I wasn't sure if it wasn't, because I know citizens petitions, nobody can touch.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was because it was money, if. the budget committee.
No, I was gonna say, I think we can, anyone could stand up and say, you know what, I think we should do
Right.
200, whatever.
Correct.
But I think if this is a sound this number is with the
Right.
planning ahead and Wayne knows what he needs in
Oh,
terms of
yeah, I
timeline, so-
wasn't trying to
No,
say
I-
specifically, I was just realizing in general.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I didn't
yeah.
know if
No, we can't.
it was both.
But I did confirm with NHMA that we must vote, and this is both select board and budget committee, to recommend or not recommend. You cannot say neutral or we're not recommending, providing a recommendation. That's not allowed on warrants with appropriation.
Yeah.
That did come
Warrants,
up last.
warrants, yes, it did come up, and I went to NHMA, and they gave me the ruling. And then on warrants that have no appropriation, the budget committee is not allowed to give any nothing. We can't do anything. The select board can, if they want, do a recommendation or not recommendation, but budget committee, we can't. We are not allowed. The next warrant is the road repair. It reads, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate a sum of $350,000 for the purpose of public road repair and maintenance. My only comment is, if you look at the budget that we approved, the $350,000 was taken out of the appropriation line under the highway department. And this is, again, roughly, I believe, 2 miles of roadway to be paved.
I have a quick question. Does, what happens to this, does this kind of, if all $350,000 is not used, does it just go back into the?
It goes into the unreserved fund
Okay,
balance.
perfect. So I feel like most warrants are usually involving a capital reserve fund of sorts, so.
Nope, and
wasn't
this,
sure.
Okay, so
this one used to be
This is
like
not a
this.
capital reserve
Yes.
fund.
This
No,
one
but
used to
that's-
be
that's
like
fine.
this, and then it was rolled into the budget because I believe the intent of the select board was to say this isn't something that we should be getting a yes or no on, like we should definitely be doing this.
Yeah.
Why are they putting it in a warrant?
Because it gives the taxpayers choice. It's a pretty big line item, and it also gives the option, and I think you had brought this up, Jim, if Wayne comes and says, I want to do this road, but it's 3 miles instead of 2, and it's going to cost a little more, then it would be tied to that specific road for that specific price. And that's all that money could be used for.
I mean, it's not our purview, but you brought up, I think this is the perfect place to have a capital reserve fund for road repair, because then he comes before the voters and says $350,000 for these roads. It must be spent on those roads. It can't be spent for anything else. And oh, by the way, if it didn't,
A warrant article or a capital reserve?
capital reserve fund. I said, it's not our purview, but like, I almost think that this would be a nice place to have a new capital reserve fund that is used for road repair, because then you can carry it over if he doesn't use it.
Yeah.
Where this just lapses, so. But this is not a capital reserve fund. This is strictly just an appropriation. Discussion.
I don't think I was able to be at the highway discussion, but I don't know if I agree for it to be a warrant article, which at this point is a moot point.
The other school is now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just so you know, I mean, I have it up there. We did take it out of his,
Yeah.
we reduced it down by $350,000.
The other thing that people had expressed, and I say people, meaning members of the public, had expressed feelings about, is if it's in the operating budget, then there is no guarantee that that money is spent only on that item. If it is a warrant article, then that is the only thing that those funds can be spent on.
But I also agreed to Jim's point of having a capital reserve fund, but I saw you shaking your head. Is there negative, do you think?
There
that-
isn't, there is not.
CRF?
This is one
There
that
isn't
have to be
one.
created, and
There
it's
isn't
not
one.
our purview. But I think there was discussion at one time. I thought it was actually in the town meeting report from last year that talked about, on one of the slides, saying that the money, now maybe that was salt. Maybe I'm mixing this up with salt.
I don't
Anyways,
know anymore.
whatever.
I think there was a capital reserve for salt.
There
last
is a,
year
there
because
is a capital reserve for
Winter.
winter maintenance or something,
Maintenance.
and it's
Yes.
actually
Snow and
Yeah.
ice.
an ETF.
Yeah, right.
I think it's actually probably on your summary page, wherever that is. Mm,
There is one.
Highway, no.
I don't know.
There is one.
Why is it not on this report?
Control fine.
Yeah.
Repair.
No. Oh, there's.
Oh,
another-
there it
there's a
is.
There it
whole
is. It's, I'm
page.
sorry, it's because it's an EFT. That's why.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, but you even said it. It's an EFT.
Okay. Which apparently is different from CRF somehow. That's above my pay grade. But I believe the intent there was to, well, I don't know, that was done maybe 10 years ago with the intent of kind of stabilizing bad winter, planning for the worst winter. 2021. Oh, wow. That was not as long ago as I thought. Nope. Never mind. Disregard. I would guess the forestry program over at fire.
Yeah, I don't know, as a member of the public, I might ask for that to be a CRF. I just feel like it makes more sense than it can only be
I'm
used
not
as
sure.
road
Yeah,
maintenance.
that's a lawyer. I don't think,
repair.
even at town meeting, I don't believe you can create a capital reserve fund at the town meeting. I think that has
It has to be a warrant
Has
article.
to be a warrant article that's
Well,
submitted
maybe
ahead of
it's a
time.
conversation for next year.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So on the road repair,
I
Appropriation.
make a motion to recommend.
Second.
so I have a motion and a second to recommend $350,000 for the purpose of public road repair and maintenance. Any other discussion on this? Anyone from the public before we vote?
I feel like on this one, you already know. But
Can never
So
say.
if there's no other discussion, I'll take a vote. Alina?
Aye.
Kat?
I,
Letty?
Abstain.
Michelle? Gabby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. The last warrant, I don't believe we have to do anything because it is, where are we?
it doesn't have financial implications.
There
Right.
should be two more.
I-
Or wait, did we table one of them?
These are all I got from the,
I thought that there were
that's right.
two about
Other
exemptions.
disabled.
oh,
Oh,
well,
okay. Or is that something
no,
different
just,
than what you're
just so
talking
you, so let me, on this fire department one, it's where there's no appropriation, we cannot vote anything.
okay.
So we
I didn't know what
skip
you were-
that.
Yep.
And then on the exemptions, the elderly exemptions, again, there is no appropriation associated with that. Those are exemptions to property taxes. It's not an appropriation.
So there is no appropriation, but it does have a tax impact because it will affect the tax revenue. And I do think we voted on this one last time because I think it was actually the budget committee who was the driver to change these.
We have voted on them in the past. I'm not saying you're wrong, but we have voted on them.
They told
voted
me
on them in the past.
if it doesn't have an appropriation, and these are not appropriation, an appropriation is approval to expend money.
Don't you also, doesn't this board also get involved with revenue though?
What we're voting on is the warrant, and the warrant does not have an appropriation, so we.
No, but it will affect
We
revenue.
can't
That's my
vote to recommend or not recommend.
Okay.
The select board can vote to recommend or not
I
recommend.
get what
if
you're
they want.
saying, Letty, though,
Okay.
because we've advocated in understanding the revenues and being
And
able
I
to
think
take
last
that into
time
the
we
whole
did-
picture.
Like discuss this a lot and I think even suggest numbers.
When it comes to articles that do not have an appropriation, the budget committee cannot place a recommendation on them.
right? Like
That was-
Lois was on the, I know.
No, I know we voted on them
Okay.
before,
We
but.
definitely did, so, no, he can be, that's
Doesn't
fine.
mean we didn't do something. You weren't supposed to know.
It does make me feel better to know that my memory of that is accurate.
Lydia, I think at that time we also met, like, I don't know, at least one of them I remember when Jack said that we, even though we shouldn't, like, we weren't voting for, we were recommending, so it was more like that. Like, I don't know, I don't know how to, like, because we were advocating for that, we were advocating
Right, we were
to help
advocating
people that
to
didn't.
adjust those numbers to make, to,
Yes,
I see. We don't have to.
No, it's not about me. It's about, I didn't think that the RSA's allowed us to do it. I
That's what
checked
your
with,
email said.
I
That's what I
checked with
just read in the
NHMA, so it's not that I don't want us to do this. I think it's a great idea. I think, and I think that's why the select board did it, but I just don't think we are supposed to,
Yeah.
we don't, are
Okay.
supposed
This
to.
one just doesn't come with a budget committee recommendation or non-recommendation.
Right. The only, the town administrator just handed me one, and I'm not sure, either I'm behind on my emails or I just didn't see this
You
one.
sent that one?
Did I send this one? The $8,500 for the master plan expendable trust fund? Oh, okay, great. For some
I
reason,
have it in my email from you.
I don't know why I don't have it on my, I have it on the. Yeah, I don't know. Somehow I missed it when I created my table, so, but if you all have it, it's, the warrant says to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $8,500 to be added to the master plan expendable trust fund under provisions of RSA 3119A for the purpose of updating the town's master plan. And if you want, I have the balance. We just were looking at it. So currently, the balance on that account is $8,590. Hold on, let me just zoom over, make sure I have the right column. No, sorry. Zoom out.
That's probably what we put in last.
No, I had the wrong amount.
Should be about 8,500.
ETF? Yeah, $8,741.98. So again, the warrant says to see if the town would vote to raise and appropriate $8,500 to be added into that same account, that master plan expendable trust fund, for the purpose of updating the town's master plan. And on this one, since it is an appropriation, we do need to vote to recommend or not recommend.
And what is the total,
The total,
cost for that? Like,
it's an $8,500 appropriation.
No, what is the cost to update the master plan? Do we have that?
Yeah.
We
yeah,
did
hold
get
on.
that last
Hold
year.
on, I can look at my notes.
I know that we used to do it piecemeal and then they
Yes.
decided
Yeah.
they want to do the whole thing at
Yes,
once.
I think it's in the $60,000 to $80,000 range. I think the plan was to kind of, almost like we do with revaluation. This used to be in the budget to do it kind of a little bit every year, and they weren't keeping up with it, and so it was just rolling over back into the general fund, and they felt like this was a better way to utilize that appropriation.
So, expendable trust fund. So there is a fund already. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we created it last year, I believe. Created it and added to it.
Yes, that's correct, Letty. It says 2025.
Julie, is the emergency management fund also on this document, or would it be listed somewhere else?
So, can I put 14?
Okay, it's somewhere else though. Excuse me.
I'll make the motion to recommend this if there's no further discussion.
Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Alina. So I have a motion and a second to see if the town would vote and to raise and appropriate $8,500 to be added to the master plan expendable trust fund. And we have Mr. Burlow, like to make a comment?
Jim Burlow, Scrabble Road. just because we have this fund, what is the actual purpose? Who's in charge of creating ideas, concepts? Why is $8,500 being spent to fund this? What am I as a taxpayer getting out of this expenditure of my tax
have-
dollars?
I will give you what was
The planning.
given to us. It says New Hampshire RSA Title 674-1-4 requires the planning board to prepare and amend from time to time a master plan to guide the development of the town. The master plan must include, at a minimum, a vision section, current land use and future land use section, and may include other sections such as natural resources and transportation. The master plan is a set of statements and land use and development principles for the town with such accompanying maps, diagrams, charts, and descriptions as to give legal standing to the implementation of ordinances and other measures of the planning board. Revisions to the plan are recommended every 5 to 10 years. Before 2025, the planning board's annual budget set aside money to update 1 or 2 master plan chapters each year. Last year, the planning board proposed and Brentwood voters approved creating a dedicated master plan expendable trust fund. This fund allows the town to save money over several years so we can update the entire master plan at once in a more complete and efficient way. This change did not increase the amount of money budgeted for the master plan. It simply shifted how the money is handled. Instead of budgeting and paying for small chapter by chapter updates each year, the same amount is now placed into a savings fund for a full master plan update. This year's vote is to continue adding money to that fund.
Do you have any idea how much this costs? Has anyone done an analysis? Are we just throwing money into a fund? And you just mentioned it's recommended, not shall have, recommended every 5 to 10 years. Recommended. Are we just throwing money into yet another fund the taxpayer has to throw money into, in which we have no idea what the costs are to develop this?
I'm not on the planning board anymore, but I believe at least one of the sections is over 20 years old, so we do need to update some of them. I can look and see if I have notes about what the total.
While Letty's looking that up, I just wanted to let you know that $8,500 has a tax impact of 1 cent per thousand or $4.58 on a $650,000 home.
And I recommend I save that $4 per 600,000.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, who does?
I'm looking.
So who does make the changes to that? Planning board itself?
The planning board adopts them, but they contract with somebody to do it. I think in the past, the current town planner has done it, but I don't know if that is the plan moving forward.
I mean, we have a motion and a second. If some of you, Letty, I don't
know.
need you to look it up for my vote.
Yeah.
I don't. If the other members want you to try to, look it up,
I like to try to answer the public when I can.
sure.
But if it won't have an impact on the board's decision, then
Well,
I could just.
it
tell
also
them
sounds like
afterwards.
that in the past, they may have been doing a chapter or two every year or something, like taking $8,500 to try to do a chapter in a year. And now you're talking about, well, we're gonna save up and do a 5-year update of the entire master plan of the town.
That sounds like we're
may-
probably closer to the 10 years based on your kind of guesstimate, but I get that you're looking for the actual
yeah,
answer.
sorry.
Yeah.
Not just
Chapters are there?
estimate.
I mean, no?
None of us are on the planning board.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I was just gonna kind of do the math.
I know,
You know, if it's 5 chapters.
Nope, I
how we
can,
get
I
it.
can, any one of us could go on the town website and look for the master plan, which is what I'm doing,
Oh,
to see how many chapter it is.
see who gets there
Where is
first.
that?
Oh, there you go, all master plan chapters.
80 to 2018. Hasn't been updated since 2018. I find that hard to believe.
Can you zoom in? It looks
Yeah,
like,
I'm
is that, I'm guessing all of those are, oh no.
Those do say chapters.
No, it's a live document. It's much worse.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's chapter 1, 2, 3.
No, so,
But that's from 1980.
so
there's
this
new-
is, so basically the way that this document is designed is it has the original and then it has all of the edits sequentially in the document.
Mhm.
So it may have that many chapters or it may have more.
Mhm.
Can you scroll down and see how many chapters there are, please?
Well, let's see, 650.
You might have to go to the end, maybe.
Well, it says five chapters, but I
No,
mean,
but
if you
then
look,
they added more. So if you go up to the table of contents, they added more of them. So if you scroll down a little bit, I don't know if
To page like
like
93.
housing, open space, like I don't know if those were chapters in the
Okay.
original 5.
Just curious.
I think there are about 10. Please don't quote me on that because I do not know.
Okay, you don't have to go through all that, Jim.
I mean, it's a comprehensive document.
It is this is the full history of master plans in the town. And then I think there are recently some of the chapters were updated. I know that when I was on the planning board, the housing, transportation, and vision chapters were all updated.
Move on.
I didn't
Thank you.
touch it.
Thank you.
Look at me.
For your efforts.
It's like the screen is-
Oh,
I didn't touch it.
I'm sorry, one last comment. You're about to vote on $8,500 of something you know nothing about. You have no efficiency of this document, et cetera. I'm seeing 2018, I'm seeing 1980. Is it something that you cannot recommend to the taxpayer until we get a grasp of where is this $8,500 a year we're throwing at this goes? And is it needed? That's all I'm asking.
Jim, should we perhaps table it and like just answer
If somebody
public?
wants to we have a motion and a second to vote.
Yeah,
if-
I'm
if-
just saying I can retract my second, we can table it.
I
to
don't
get
know,
the
again, I'm not sure
clarification.
how,
And
Mr.
vote,
Burlow's question,
right.
I know what I'm voting on. I know what a master plan is. I know what, I read the full description that the select board and the town administrator gave us explaining what this money is being put aside for. It's so I don't know, again, I'm at the liberty of whatever you folks want to do. I don't believe that I'm voting, I think I know what I'm voting on. I don't need to I personally don't feel the need to table it. I think it's pretty clear what this money is being set aside for,
Move
a
the
master
motion?
plan.
Can I move the motion, move the question?
Yeah, Chad, I'll
sorry.
allow you if you want to make a quick
I'd
comment.
like 15 minutes if I could.
That, I won't allow that.
So just to give you some history, when I was involved with the boards in the early 90s, the town was very concerned about how we were going to move into the future. And, we've always had a master plan of sorts. I think it provides direction so we don't make too many mistakes like we have in the past, like cluster housing and stuff, but I'll leave that aside. But I think it's a valuable process to let us decide which way forward is. And I think there's been a lot of concern over the years of what is Brentwood, what will be Brentwood, and we like it 2-acre lots. That's why I moved here. And, I think just forcing discussion provides opportunity. And I would support this. But to Jim's point, I was raised with, if you worry about the pennies, you never have to worry about the dollars. So a penny's a penny. So that's not the argument I'd make. The argument I'd make is this gives us a path forward that we can either sign on to or sign up against. But I think it's a valuable tool.
Thank you, Mr. Mello.
I think,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Michelle.
I think Mr. Burlow's point was not whether or not the master plan is a good idea. It's funding it without understanding how it's being developed and how that money's actually getting spent. If I heard you correctly, Jim.
Thank you.
Which is
I
basically
agree
how
with
I feel.
Michelle.
Sorry.
It's not the question of importance. It's more like we don't understand at this time what we are, like when we put money aside for trucks or for, there's a number in our head that we're putting aside for. At this point, there's just a little bit of a question, which I'm sure can be clarified if we talk to someone on the
So
planning
you voted
board.
for it last year, and the purpose has not changed. Now, I don't know if individually any of you voted for it. I guess the question is,
No, I understand we voted, but again, like sometimes, things, I can't remember how it calculated. Like I remember how we calculate for trucks and things. I can't remember, right? And if we can't find right now the answer, I'd also feel much better if we just get the answer and there's not going to be a long discussion afterwards. We
So-
can just vote,
how would you like to get the answer?
talk to someone on the planning board and say, how do you guys, what is that magical number? How do you, who do you hire? How often? How is that spent? Like, is it annually that we spend it, or is it, collected over a period of time and then we do like every 5 years or whatever, an update?
Is that something that this whole board wants, or just you as an individual member?
I would like that.
So,
So, I mean, Alina, you can withdraw your second, and if nobody else seconds it, we can stop there, or,
Yeah, I'll withdraw.
I'll second it.
again, I have a motion and a second to recommend to see, again, the article, the warrant is written to appropriate $8,500 to put in the master plan expendable trust fund. Anyone else want to discuss this anymore?
I just support it. I know that the chair of the planning board and that board is kind of like how we go to department heads, and we understand that they know their process, and we ask them questions, and we've done that with the planning board and understand that this master plan is with its intent and the requirement and to update it. So I feel comfortable supporting it.
Okay, any more discussion? Alina?
It's an A, and only because I would like to know more, nothing else. Otherwise, I support the plan.
Kat?
Aye.
Letty?
Abstain.
Michelle?
no.
Gabby?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. I think it fails. That's only 3.
No, it passes.
Yeah, majority.
Three,
Do we-
two.
What's that?
3-2.
Okay, thank you. I think that's the last warrant. Unless, did I miss any more, Julie? Thank you.
But I did look in my notes, and actually last year, this warrant was, the 8,500 was taken from the capital or unreserved fund balance.
Yeah, war last year.
Because of, as you were saying, they kept piecemealing the master plan together when it was in the operating budget, and they didn't use it. And so they said, well, we'll take that, we'll put it in here, and then we want to just do it in one fell swoop. And
Right.
I did not take a note on what the magic number is,
I
as
looked,
they
I
say.
couldn't find it either.
I believe we were given a number, or at least a range, but I didn't write it down.
In our meeting or at
Last year.
town meeting?
I think in our
Our meeting.
meeting, there was, if I recall correctly, there was a presentation by the chair of the
Mhm.
planning board because it was establishing the fund, so I think there was more explanation than just that blurb that Jim read, but that's just my recollection.
Okay, so that takes care of the budgets and the warrants that we have at this time. Any other business from anyone on the committee? The only thing I was going to add, and I will email this to all of you, is that when we had set up our date for public hearing, there was this whole idea of having a second public hearing in case there was a change made to the budget, that we would have to have a second hearing, right? So we kind of set it up on the 5th and then a second. I talked to someone at NHMA about this, and because the law states that all purposes and amounts of appropriations to be included in the budget or special warrant articles shall be disclosed or discussed at the final hearing. The governing body or budget committee, again, we have a budget committee in town, so it's the budget committee, shall not thereafter insert in any budget column a special warrant. So you can't, after we close the hearing, we can't change the budget. We can't add anything to it. However, if at that public hearing, we voted to make a change or we voted to add as a budget committee, we do not need to have a second public hearing. Because we are in an open hearing with the public, we are allowed to make changes. Once we close that hearing, we can't make any changes. So the truth is that the probability of us ever having to have a second hearing is probably really remote. I did not know that. I was told that we couldn't make a change at all, and I was thinking, well, with a tax cap, we might have to make a change. But the truth is, and it's even, I'll show you that in the NHMA Basic Law of Budgeting, it talks about the public hearing and what, you know, what is done and what is not done. And at the very
Hold on,
bottom,
can you, sorry. Yeah, I just want to read the first one. Okay.
okay, so, and at the very bottom, notice it says, if a member of the public at the public hearing makes a suggestion for a new appropriation, the governing body or budget committee can add it to the proposed budget without a second hearing because it was, quote, discussed at the first hearing. So anyways, I just brought
So this
this
is
up.
only for increases then?
I believe it's, we can't make changes to the budgets. No new purpose or amount can be added. I guess that means we could subtract if we wanted. But again, I thought the whole point of the second public hearing was because we were told, or in the past had been told, that if any changes are made, you'd have, at that hearing, you'd have to have another
So-
hearing after 7 days
so
later. With the 7 days, because you have to.
I think, and I have not had as many years, but historically, the way it worked is we had the tiny baby meeting before. We opened the meeting, we had the public hearing, and then we closed the public hearing, and then there was discussion and voting on the budget.
No, I don't-
I think that's what we
Yes.
did last year.
Yes. We closed the public hearing and then we held our meeting. It sounds like what Jim is saying is that as long as any changes happen during the hearing and not during the meeting,
Right,
Correct.
Yeah.
You don't need to
Okay.
have another meeting.
Yeah.
that we don't have to have.
You don't need to have another meeting.
no, but so
Last year, we didn't make any changes, but we did
we closed the,
discuss and
I think
I
we
don't
have,
even know if we
you-
voted.
yeah, you have to vote to adopt it.
Right.
But I think
Okay, well,
that's,
then we all
I
said
think
no.
that's where the, maybe, I am assuming that whoever said this was not trying to intentionally make it confusing. So you can have a public hearing, then close the public hearing. And historically, that is what's happened. They've had the public hearing, then they close the public hearing, and then they vote.
Mhm.
As long as whatever changes are gonna happen during the hearing.
Right.
Yeah.
So we reconvene, we recess the meeting
Right.
before the hearing.
yeah.
But after the hearing, we didn't vote on anything except to end the meeting.
Yes, didn't we vote
For my
to,
minutes.
didn't we vote, when did we sign the things, though?
Well, we just sign them. There's no vote for that. I mean, we
You're,
don't
you're talking
vote
about the
to sign
actual,
them.
the actual
Yeah.
official
Sign
budget.
them.
Don't we have to?
After, anytime,
I thought we-
anytime after the hearing, we would basically, I believe the town administrator will print out all the numbers that she has gotten from me that we have all approved through this whole process, all of the appropriations. So there'll be a total operating budget and all those numbers, right? All, and our recommendations. It's basically,
Well,
she'll print it out and then we have to officially sign it,
Yeah.
but
But all I'm saying is that I
We
think
did have suggestions after all of the public commentary about specifically the way the fire chief kind of succession plan was structured with taking on, my brain can't remember, was it lieutenant, deputy?
the deputy chief,
Deputy
maybe?
chief, yeah, having that position. There was discussion about having money for both a deputy chief and a chief, and why do we need, like, why do we need that? Just because that's what Chief Bird says he wants, he's not the ruler who waves
Maybe
a
that's-
magic
So like,
wand.
so
So
because.
we did vote to not amend the budget after the hearing and all the public comment.
I guess what I'm saying,
So
to what
there
you're
was a vote.
saying is that if we can't close the hearing and then make changes
Right, without having a second hearing.
without having a second hearing.
Correct.
I think,
But we
but
didn't,
I think,
that
but I,
vote could have happened during the
and
hearing, or
that's
do we
maybe,
recess the hearing,
that's maybe,
vote? and
no,
then
we
do
could,
it?
we could
that's the
vote
part
during,
that I
vote
think
at-
people don't.
we could
hearing.
vote during the
Yeah.
hearing. We could
Okay.
open a line.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And all I'm saying is, the way I thought was explained to me was,
Yeah.
if we did this at the hearing, if we made changes at the hearing, we would have to hold another hearing.
because that's what
That's what I
last
was
year,
told.
we
No,
did
I
vote on
thought
whether or
we-
not to
I-
make changes, and we did not make any changes, so then we did not have.
I took that to mean if we made changes at the meeting, we would have to have another hearing.
Mhm.
That's correct, and that,
Yeah,
and from what,
okay.
from what
Which
this is,
that is
that is.
true. If we
Okay,
had,
so
if
that-
we made
so-
changes at the meeting after the hearing, we'd need another hearing, but
If we make.
we can make changes during the hearing.
Correct.
And not have,
And
not during the meeting.
Again, this is my first time through this. Once the hearing is over and we close the hearing, I'm taking that we are done with the
Yes.
budget. There's nothing else to
Because
do
there's
I
or
remember
vote.
signing papers that night.
We,
Maybe
Yes,
we
but
didn't
we
vote.
don't vote
we-
on
We
it.
just
Yeah.
signed
I mean, the papers that we are given are the papers
we're
that have all the
presenting.
numbers that have been determined up to that point. If something was changed,
she'd
then
have to print out a
then we
new
would
sheet
get new
with,
papers, but
right,
there's-
she'd have to print
we-
out the
we've
sheet.
never
Or we
voted
could all
on-
come
on
by-
those papers.
And we're having a meeting before, just in case there's something that we, whatever.
Yeah.
But,
I think it was because warrant articles are due.
Yeah,
right,
but
Right.
then
Tuesday.
if we
Right.
need to, if there's
Right.
anything that feels like it needs a vote, I mean, our meetings are public
Right.
anyway, so now why not just?
but my
do
whole
it?
point of this was just saying that, remember we backtracked it in, thinking, and I'm thinking now, knowing what I know now, I'm
Yeah,
not sure
we
we
wouldn't
really
have had
needed
to
to
do
do that.
that.
I wouldn't have
I think,
rushed
yeah,
the
that's
first town
historically
meet.
what
I
we
But
would-
did.
honestly,
Public
it's,
hearings, I've
the
been
meeting
honest.
is happening 5 days sooner than it happened last year, so I don't think it's
I think it's-
functionally gonna make.
I
much
think it's better to not wait
Fair.
until the deadlines,
Yeah.
because
It's okay.
If
Yeah, what
I,
if we have a
My only
crazy
concern is that,
snowstorm and we
my
have to
only concern is
reschedule?
putting together the hearing, presentation. We're coming down to I'm getting down to the last minute where the warrants are gonna come in, right? Because if that changes, well, I gotta go through and change all the slides and all the numbers, but whatever, it is what it is.
so I expect that the select board will vote on more warrant articles tomorrow night. Because they're the like fill all the capital reserve ones, the one that
Right.
has been
Right.
grouped together.
Right.
We wanted to make sure that the transfers that were going to happen had happened. And get updated information about what was in those funds after that. So that one was tabled. So that one at least will be at the meeting before the meeting, whenever that is, next week. That's next week,
that's next week,
It is
time
next
flies.
week.
February already.
Right, so and I was gonna bring this up as well. We have to meet before the public hearing because we need to do recommendations on those. So I posted Thursday, Michelle, I don't think you can make it. I don't know if we wanna meet, what's next Monday?
School
We-
board meeting.
School board, yeah.
We definitely need another meeting beforehand to
No,
recommend.
that's the point of the 5th.
We can do it on the 5th.
Yeah,
Oh, that's true,
Yeah.
because it won't change, it
I was
won't
just
change my
thinking warrant
presentation.
articles
It
don't
won't
come-
change my presentation at all, because I don't get into the recommendation. I'm just showing the
And
numbers,
even if it
the
does,
actual
you can
numbers.
just either put recommend or not recommend.
Yeah,
You
but
can
I'm
just put
trying to
not.
calculate out
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
tax impact for
Yep.
all of these
Mhm.
things, so, but I'll have those, even if we
Yeah.
don't recommend it, I'm gonna have the tax impact listed there
Exactly.
anyway, so, yeah, that's true, we could,
So the
that's what that
select board
would
has to
meant.
approve them on the 3rd. That's when all warrant articles
Yeah.
are due by.
Right,
So you'll know before
Yeah,
the meeting
okay.
on the 5th
Yeah.
what they are.
yeah,
And then
you're
on the
right,
5th
we don't need it, we don't, because we have that meeting on the 5th
Mhm.
at 5, just for
Mhm.
that purpose. Thank you, again,
Yeah.
this is my first,
And sometimes it's literally there's nothing.
right.
There, yeah, we have just sat there for an hour because we had nothing to talk about.
Sometimes I bring dinner.
That's okay. I do want to,
I don't know why it's
I did go back to last year's minutes. And last year, we were told that the total cost of updating the master plan was around $42,000. So apparently in the last year, that
Oh.
cost has doubled.
No, I might have
Or
been
was
wrong.
it 42,000?
Is it
or every
42,000 for 5?
years?
Oh, that's what it was.
Total that's what the minutes say. I can't say
Right.
that the minutes
no,
are
no.
absolutely.
I just pulled a number out of my brain.
No, it's doing a good job.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I might have been wrong.
Just
Because
saying.
what did I say,
That's
60
what
to 80?
Yeah.
I might have been
That's
thinking
what's on
10 years
record.
then. Would that be right? I don't know.
Anyway.
I don't
This
know,
is why
but
you
that's
should
what
take my word for things.
$42,000
What?
is
What?
$85,000 puts you at
8,500.
being $8,500 puts you at being able to update the master plan every 5 years with that.
Please
number
strike
in
whatever
mind.
number I said because it was not official. Just pull out of my
To the
air.
minutes, babe.
Well, that's what, when you were
Okay.
saying 80, I was
That's
like,
why I
that's
always
weird that
say-
we would have gone for
That's
the
why
longer
I always
term.
say I am pulling this out of thin air. I'm
I
trying
didn't
to
have
remember.
that particular phrase in the
Okay.
minutes, so
Yeah.
I'll,
Okay.
next time you pull it out of your hair, make sure you specify, and I will
I
put that
do if I don't have a proof.
put that in the
But then
minutes.
that makes sense where the 85 came from, because that's every 5 years, which is
Mhm.
5 to 10 years, and then if there's somehow a cost issue or time issue.
Mhm.
Thank you for looking that up.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
That's I tried.
Where
I
was
didn't
that?
think to look
Andy
in the
to be a
minutes.
secretary.
Oh.
I wasn't. My again, not an amazing.
Any other
Michelle saw my
new
notes.
business
She
from
was-
anybody?
She was.
Anything from
Oh,
anybody? We're good?
No.
Okay, public comment?
Yeah, I just have a quick
you,
question,
Julie.
actually. Julie, it might be good if you stay. So I put my, work hat on when I looked at the benefits. And I noticed only short-term disability is there. Is there no long-term disability?
The employees have to pay for it themselves.
Pardon?
The employees cover it.
Okay, so it's covered that way, because that's the way to do it, because otherwise it's taxed when it becomes a benefit. All right, I just wanted to make sure they had the opportunity. Good.
Thank you. Thanks, Julie.
Julie, thank you. Thank you, Chad. Hey, be careful driving home.
Actually, great.
Okay, so, guess a motion
So
to
our-
adjourn?
So our upcoming, just confirming, we have our meeting on February 5th at 5. The
Correct.
hearing is February 5th at 6. Both are at the rec center.
Correct.
We have a second hearing date of February 13th if needed.
We do not anticipate
We do
needing
not
it because we
anticipate
have a,
needing it, but it's
we
on
have a
there.
much better understanding of what we are allowed to do and when.
Thanks, Jim.
Just, there we go. Just wanted to clarify, just confirm those. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Oh, we have to do roll call, right? Alina?
Bye.
Kat?
Aye.
Buddy?
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you.
night,
Take care.
everyone.
Yep, good night.
Nope. So this is like. Yes, they kept shutting off, but I didn't touch it. I know you didn't. But literally, there are